Welcome to the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, episode number 263. Where you are right now is the lesson that you need to learn to move forward. James Widmore.
Broadcasting from the back alley in Hollywood, it's the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, where we show you how to survive and thrive as an indie filmmaker in the jungles of the film biz. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome, Indie Film Hustlers, to another episode of the Indie Film Hustle Podcast. I am your humble host, Alex Ferrari. Today's show is sponsored by Soundstripe. Now, Soundstripe is a music licensing website that allows you to download unlimited music for your latest projects. And once you download it, it is yours for life. You can use the music for feature films, short films, YouTube, you name it. And they charge just a fraction of the cost of what a normal stock music library would be. You can sign up for a monthly or a yearly subscription. And if you want to get 10% off your yearly subscription, just enter the code IFH and go to soundstripe.com. Today's show is also sponsored by Blackbox. Blackbox is a new platform and community that is all about financial freedom for filmmakers like you. If you join Blackbox, you will be transformed from being a worker to being a maker of your own content. And you'll be making steady passive income from the global market. Blackbox currently allows you to upload your stock footage once, get it to many global agencies, and then allows you to share that passive income stream with your collaborators. Whether you want to submit old footage that's been sitting around in your hard drives or create brand new content, Blackbox is for you. It's really quite revolutionary. With Blackbox, filmmakers can concentrate on making great content while Blackbox takes care of all the business BS. Just visit www.blackbox.global to find out more. So today on the show, we have actress extraordinaire Cobie Smulders from the new film All Right Now. Now, I generally don't have actors on. I have them every once in a while, and of over 260 episodes that I've done, I've only had a handful of actors on. And I wanted to bring Cobie on, one, because I am a huge fan of Cobie's. Ever since How I Met Your Mother, where she was one of the stars of that, as well as because I'm a comic book geek, all of her work on the Marvel films, as well as Jack Reacher and other amazing projects she's done. And she's generally known now for doing a lot of big blockbuster style movies. But this movie, All Right Now, was a small indie movie, and I wanted to kind of go inside of her mind of how she chose the project, what she was doing. And the cool part about this project was that it was shot in 5 days, completely improv by director Jamie Adams from the UK, who is going to be a guest on the show on Thursday, actually. So we're going to be bringing him on as well to discuss his process. But I wanted to hear what Cobie had to say about being an actress of her stature, to be out on the edge that way, being completely free and scared to death because there's no net to catch you out there as an actor, as a creator, when you make films like this. Because that's my first two features were made the exact same way. And I wanted to hear her point of view of how she felt as an actress, what drew her to the project, and if she would do it again. So I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Now, one little side note, the audio pops in and out a little bit. We had a rough connection with Cobie, but overall, you're going to hear most of everything she has to say, but there will be a little bit of issues with the audio, so just wanted to make that perfectly clear to everybody listening. So without any further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Cobie Smulders.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I literally just finished watching All Right Now, and it was really great. You did a fantastic performance.
Oh, that's very, very kind of you. Yeah, it was a fun little passion project, tiny little movie.
Right. And considering that you're used to, running around with Thor and Hulk, I mean, I'm assuming it's a little different.
Slightly different than that. Yeah, it's a slightly different film than that kind of stuff.
And when I first saw the trailer, it reminded me of your character, Robin's alter ego in How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, the Robin Daggers.
Yes.
Daggers, I know. I know it is a little bit about, like, if Robin Daggers had been more successful, she could have gone on to just milk that and turn into Joanne Skye.
Exactly. So what drew you to the project?
Well, We don't know each other very well, but I like a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie certainly presented that in the sense that it was going to be shot in 5 days. It was completely improvised.
No.
We shot it in Cardiff in England.
Nice.
And it was just this like weird little, it was almost like acting camp. We all slept in the same house together.
Mm-hmm.
We went into work, we had breakfast together right upstairs. And we kind of discussed, okay, these are the things that we kind of need to get done. Like I said, there was no script, so we would sort of generally know what we had. We knew like information we had to give the audience in each scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only guideline we had. So it was just wild and wacky. And I had never done a completely improvised film. And I'd seen some of his, Jamie Adams, our director, I'd seen some of his other films. He'd just finished this movie called Black Mountain Poets, which was completely improvised. And it just looked like so much fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to London. I'm going to go to England for a week and just shoot this movie and have this like amazing fun experience and see what comes of it.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I've worked on,
super fun.
I kind of felt that because it had a little bit of a Swansburg and Duplass brothers style to it without question. And you worked with Joe Swansburg's wife on Unexpected?
Yes, Chris. Yes, exactly.
And that wasn't improvised. That was more scripted? No,
that was scripted. Yeah. Yeah.
But that must have been so much fun, just going out there and just like, well, first of all, how did you get pitched? Like, how does someone pitch you a film like this? How did this come into your world? Because I mean, generally,
I don't know. Jamie is kind of like, he knows so much about movies and actors and performers, directors. Like, I don't know exactly how I got on his radar for this, but he just kind of came after me a little bit. And since then we've become really great friends. But he just kind of comes up with these ideas. And since our movie, I mean, he's gone on to shoot like four other ones that are completely improvised as well. So he just kind of gets an idea and he just really sees it through. So he just pitched it to my agent. And when I sort of heard about the parameters, all the things I just went through with you, I was like, this seems like totally insane. And I'm in.
It does take a brave actor or actress to go down these roads because you're out there without a net, basically.
You got to do it, and I am always trying to challenge myself, and I live a very simple, boring existence. I'm a mom, and I get to do some amazing projects, and I get to do some crazy work, but nothing where it's like, all right, so in this scene, you are mad because of this. Go. And you just say whatever you want, and you kind of move wherever you want, and you can wear whatever you want, and you can be drunk or you don't have to be drunk. I mean, it's just like, it's fun. It's just, it's kind of like, it reminded me of my youth, like doing like weird improv theater, being like on some weird small stage in Canada, just making up shit. Yes. And I was just so happy to like be in that place again. And everybody was just so nice and lovely that we just all had such a blast.
Like when that first pseudo lovemaking scene that you had where he starts doing the dancing and the stripping, it had that energy was so visceral. You could feel it coming. Right. That was happening in a moment. It wasn't take two or two.
Yes. No. I mean, we did it a few times. I'm trying to think like how many times we made him, poor Richard, do that. But we did it a few times. But it was with this medium. I think the way to do it. First of all, I learned, toward the end, which was unfortunate for me, that you don't ever want to do your coverage first because you kind of you find out what the scene is. Mm-hmm. Sort of toward the end of your coverage, and then so the person who goes next knows exactly what the scene is going to be and what it's about. And what it is. But when you go first, which I always did,
right?
it was really, you just didn't know what to say or do. And then something magic would happen and then you try to recreate it, but you couldn't. And it was really, it was interesting, but you would have to do scenes quite a few times to go, what is this exactly? And where, okay, so we'll do it again, but I won't go onto the bed. I'll come over here. Because it's like it's a group effort, right? Not only are we improvising, but the camera's improvising, and the poor boom operator's just out in the middle of the sea, just doesn't know where he's going to be going next. And the lighting department's all, it's all, everybody is sort of like doesn't know what's going to happen next. So it is very much a group effort, and it felt really cool to be a part of something where everybody was creatively involved moment to moment.
Yeah.
Like obviously on a set, everybody is involved creatively, but this is like, we're all fully focused. Everyone is paying attention because we don't know what exactly is going to happen.
And where we're going and where it's going. Like you really are out there without a net, and it's a wonderful
experience. You have no idea.
It's so wonderful. It's like you're out there on the edge, and it's a wonderful place to be creatively. As an actor, as a director, as everybody, even a camera guy. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen next. It does keep you engaged.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Now, your filmography is pretty diverse. How do you pick your projects?
I like to try to switch it up. I like to do different things, but I do get blessed a lot of the time with playing strong female roles, which I definitely enjoy putting more of them out into the world. But I mean, I think for me, it comes down to, it's sort of like a checklist now where it's like you read a script and you're like, oh, the writing is really great, or this character is interesting, I haven't done it, or this character like is another version of something I've done and I could kind of do it in a different way, or whatever it's going to be. And then you go like, who's the director? And then you think, who else is involved? And now because I have 2 children, it's like, where does it shoot? For how long does it shoot? So there's sort of a variety of things to think about. But really, when it comes down to it, if I gravitate towards a character and I can see myself playing it, or I go, what is this character? I've never done it before. I'm usually drawn to the character that I'm playing. I also like, it's hard to find a very well written script, and especially in this day and age. I mean, we're talking about a completely improvised movie right now. Going into every project that the words that you're reading on the page are going to change, and when you're on set on the day, things do change. And but when you read a script and the story is so clear, and you see it visually in your mind as you're reading it, it means it's a good script. You're not focused on the bits that are happening or, where everything is set. You're not focused on the little things. You're intrigued and you want to know what happens. And so when I read a script and I'm already fully immersed in this world with these people, it's usually a good indication that I want to do it. And then I just have to make sure it's okay with my whole family.
Life balance, work balance.
Life balance, man. It's tough.
It's tough. Now, as an actress, what are you looking for in a director? That I'm a very detail-oriented person. I'm a very focused thinker. And I'm not my mind doesn't work in a being able to see an entire story in one piece. So it's really helpful to me to pair with a director who can watch a scene and go, you know what, let's not play that now, because remember that scene there's this scene that's going to come up, and that's the moment where, this should be coming up, or this kind of emotion should be really coming to the surface. I'm very sort of focused in what's happening in that present moment. That it's helpful to have somebody to help me sort of widen my blinders and take a greater look at what the entire storyline is about and what we should be focusing on. It's also nice. It's like I'm not self-directing. I'm not good at because just like people, you're sort of thinking about
what you should be thinking about, and you think that it's coming off, right? You think your face is saying that. And it's always helpful. And I'm not good at watching myself, so it's always helpful to have somebody behind the camera to go, well, let's try it again, and maybe don't push it too hard, or let's push it harder, and whatever it's going to be. I do need a bit of a cheerleader involved.
And I have to ask this question. How is it working with Marvel and being part of the MCU, one of the most successful series in film history?
It's crazy. We started this, and it was, I'm trying to think of when it was now. It was
10 years ago.
I go off of my kids' ages. Well, not for me, but it was 10 years ago for everybody, because I know they just did the 10-year thing. But for me, it was like 7.
Right, when the Avengers came out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it was so exciting. And quite frankly, I didn't know anything about the world. And my husband was more excited about the job than I was. I mean, I was very excited because it was something new and different for me, but I didn't understand what it all meant. I didn't have a childhood connection like a lot of people do.
Right.
And it's been such a crazy journey. I mean, it's so, we just said, we just did the 10th anniversary, and that day where we did this Vanity Fair photo shoot, and it was like every actor, writer, director, producer that had been involved for the 10 years. And just like looking around that room, I mean, I'm very mellow, and I'm very down to earth, and I'm not just saying that because you're interviewing me, but
sure.
I don't ever consider, I'm like, what am I doing in here? What am I doing? Why? I feel like I've accidentally walked into this room, and I just don't. I'm in the wrong place.
They're gonna kick
my mouth shut. I'm gonna keep my head down until somebody realizes what an imposter I am.
Right.
And it's the character for Hell is like she's around sometimes she's not, but it's like it's kind of the perfect outside role where I've been a part of it, but I've also been, on the outside too, watching it develop, and being able to be a fan as much and not be like in every day for the 146 days of shooting a movie. So I'm still excited about it and not burned out by it. But it's wonderful. It's a wonderful job, and I'm just thrilled that I get to suit up every now and again.
And I have two questions left that I ask all of my guests. What advice would you give an actor or filmmaker trying to break into the business today?
I think that there is a change that's happening right now, which is speaking to what I'm about to say, which is, I think when I started out, I was pretending to be so many other things, like pretending what I thought you were supposed to be as an actor, or pretending to not realizing that I had my own voice and I had my own story. And now I think just because the way the world is running, where it is so self-focused and everybody has a social media account and they're constantly presenting their own story, it is gravitating towards that, but it is exciting to seeing more diversity within that, and really getting to hear people's personal stories from other countries, from other religions, from just other sort of points of view that you hadn't been open to. But I think that is the important thing, is kind of knowing what you love and how you want to present that story to the world and make it personal. I think there is some sort of I think marketing gets in the way, maybe, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I make a horror movie and it will make $100 million, and I'll get to make whatever movie I want. It's like, yeah, but if you don't like to make horror movies, then you're going to be miserable when you make horror movies, So it's about sort of finding the story you want to tell and working like hell to get it out there.
And finally, what is the lesson that took you the longest to learn, whether in the film industry or in life?
These are great questions, by the way.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm constantly, I tend to be my own worst enemy in a lot of ways, where I force things to happen, where you go, okay, well, if I want this project, then I'll do this and I'll do that, it's wonderful to be proactive. But what I have learned is that I don't know if there's any sort of preordained path for all of us, but I do think that there is synchronicity. And I do believe that if you are meant to do that role, then it will come to you. And some things just happen easier. And that's sort of what's meant to be. Anytime I find myself like pushing to make something happen, or what I do a lot of the times is I help too much, and it ends up like making things worse instead of just like being calm and chill and just let it happen, you know? So I've had to learn patience. But it's the balance between being patient and proactive that I've had to really dial in.
Cobie, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an absolute honor to speak to you. And
yeah, it's lovely to talk to you too.
And I've been a big fan since since How I Met Your Mother. And when I saw you show up on the Avengers, I'm like, that's awesome. So
thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
It was lovely to speak with you too. Thanks for talking about our little movie.
No worries. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Cobie. She is just a saint. I love her to death. She's wonderful, and she was so kind and giving in our interview. So thank you, Cobie, so much for taking the time out and for giving us the actor's perspective on shooting an indie movie in 5 days, which is totally improv. So thank you again. And if you want links to anything we spoke about in the episode, please head over to indiefilmhustle.com/263 for the show notes. And the movie that we've been talking about all right now will be available September 9th on VOD, on iTunes, on Amazon, on Vudu, Fandango, and everywhere else you would like to purchase or rent your films. So thank you again, Cobie. And as I teased earlier, the director of All Right Now, Jamie Adams, is going to be on the show on Thursday, and we had an amazing interview about his process of shooting improv kind of style movies, the way he does it, how he works with actors, how he pitches the actors, how he got Cobie Smulders to be in his movie, and all the stuff. He's done about 4 or 5 of them, I think, at this point, and has become his style of filmmaking. And I'll tell you, from someone who's done 2 movies like this, I really do like it as well. I really, really do. And I think it's a wonderful way of making films. So check that out on Thursday, guys. And as always, keep that hustle going. Keep that dream alive. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Indie Film Hustle podcast at indiefilmhustle.com. That's INDIEFILMHUSTLE.com.